Hey there, my name's Jesse, and you're listening to the Deep Lore Boys podcast.
I will say straight up, I'm not impressed.
Oh man, I love the wizard.
Can you lay off the Fiddle Dee Dees, bro?
Can we bring up the dire wolf thing?
Yes, actually, can we start with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll just say right to kick it off. What? That's my first question. Like that. How did any of that? How did we let any of that happen? Firstly, I have so many questions. And
well, I saw it on Jackson's Instagram story first, actually, and it was like, oh, he brought the dire wolf back to life, and I was like, oh shoot, I thought that was just a D&D monster. But then, like a few days later, and it was like, oh, actually, no, it's just a gray-looking wolf, and that's pretty much it.
So, dire wolves were real. They were just an extinct species of jackal that was like just barely bigger than a modern gray wolf, and they came over to North America from Beringia, that like land bridge. They eventually went extinct because Paleo Indians hunted out all of the megafauna, and then they had nothing to eat.
Oh,
What they brought back is not a dire wolf. Actually, they didn't bring anything back. They just really created something new.
so it's not like Jurassic Park Dog Edition.
Jurassic Dog would go crazy.
What they just did is closer to Blade Runner.
Jurassic Dog sounds like a Tyrannosaurus OnlyFans, you know?
Nah.
That's probably what that is.
So what they did was they took a gray wolf's genome and then they modified like 40 different genes on that strand, and they made it so that it is closer to the wolf from Game of Thrones, which also has dire wolves, which is what they're famous from. However, they used a gray wolf and not a jackal, which is its closest living relative, and they modeled it off of the Game of Thrones wolf, not the actual extinct species. So what they did was basically just create something that's never existed before and isn't natural. So there is no de-extinction being done right now, at least from Colossal as of currently. Now, they might do de-extinction in the future, but this is not de-extinction.
So the Time magazine
it was a straight up lie.
Extinct picture with the dire wolf is totally...
It just straight up lied, yes.
It's just bogus.
So I will say...
It's a lie.
And this is my thing. I am hoping... And again, this is like a shot in the dark. I am hoping to become a paleo ecologist at some point who works with either bringing back extinct Pleistocene animals or Ice Age animals, or just does a lot of research on them to figure out whether or not we could bring them back. That is really my goal. I actually just did a presentation on this in my college class for ecology last week.
Jackson, are you going to start Jurassic Dogs? Are you going to be like the mad doctor behind that project?
No, here is what I will say for right now. I was a big fan of Colossal. I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Colossal is the company that...
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Yeah. We might just want to go into Colossal for a bit.
I mean, long story short, yes, they are necromancers. That's the best way to put it. Thank you, Larry. And so basically, yeah, they only get their funding from people. They don't really have, like, they're not really selling anything, so they don't really make money. It's like crowdfunded. So a lot of their investors are, big millionaires and billionaires who just want to see, like, one guy gave them like $1 billion or something a couple months ago. Like, he gave him like a ton of money and just said, like, I want to see a dodo bird before I die. Can you do that? And they were like, sure, yeah. Like, it's just that kind of thing. The problem is that this company started 4 years ago. People have been giving a bunch of money to them, and they haven't seen any results because they want a mammoth, but mammoths take at least 2 years to go from little, not mammoth to fully grown mammoth ready to exist in the world. Like, it takes a while for that kind of thing to happen. So people are getting impatient. They haven't gotten a dodo bird yet because they still don't know how to sequence pigeon DNA. Like, that's the biggest hurdle there.
That's
like,
elementary
nobody
stuff.
has ever sequenced the pigeon genome. Okay, it's crazy to me. We can't figure it out. So, like, they had nothing. There's nothing to go off of that'll make their investors happy. So they were like, oh, what do we do? Quick. What's that dog in Game of Thrones? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, let's make that quick.
Yeah, quick. So they made a wolf and they took it. They slapped the word dire wolf on it and they shipped it out. And they were like, "Hey guys, look at this. We made a dog." And all their investors freaked out and they were like, "Yes, it's working!" And they got super happy. And now they're doing great because their investors get what they want. they got what they want, and everybody else that actually knows how science
Man.
and like
Corporate greed
taxonomy.
is causing
Yeah,
real
so-
dire wolves to roll over in their graves.
I try to avoid talking any of my just opinions onto the podcast, but because this is really like not my direct area of expertise, but something I'm intending to go into, I will say straight up, I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
I've given this company a lot of the benefit of the doubt. People have given millions of dollars to this company for them to say, oh, we're bringing back these extinct species and we're collecting DNA, and then for them to turn around and do like a corporate publicity stunt off of an animal that never even existed.
What they're actually doing, the real achievement here that nobody talks about, and this is like really nerding out, so I won't go into it too much, but they've achieved something called multiplex gene editing that's never really been done before in the U.S.
Is that like the Gooplex 4 maneuver?
It's exactly like the Gooplex 4 maneuver, actually.
Oh, sweet.
Is that like what gets you to plaid? Like, what is like the...
So yeah, the multiplex, basically, when you do that, basically what that means is that you're taking multiple genes in that genome and you're swapping them out at the same time, and it still survives and remains viable, which is, it sounds kind of easy. It sounds like you can just take a genome, look at the whole thing, and then swap out a few of the letters in there and say, yeah, it works, but it's not.
Instead of creating a bad direwolf, if they like needed money, they should have just started a clothing brand called Multiplex Jeans, and they could have, the science community would have nerded out. They were like, finally.
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. That's not a bad idea. You're a genius.
Hey,
okay?
what's the company? Colossal? Hit us up. Our
hit
people
us
will
up.
talk to your people.
We can be your merch guys.
It's not that I have completely lost faith in this company. It's just that the idea of
okay,
them
bro.
for
Firstly,
5
you should not
years-
have faith in a company to begin with. All
Yeah,
right?
you should only have faith in our Lord and Savior.
Come on,
That's true too. I mean, forgive me,
I mean,
I've sinned.
Yeah,
but I will say it's not that I've completely lost any trust per se in this company. But if they are trying to gain over people's trust, and they've even had several Instagram posts and statements saying like they are not, like people keep comparing them to InGen and Jurassic Park, and they're like, no, we're not this. We're trying to bring back extinct species.
No, we're not that.
Like,
we're faking it. You don't understand.
Yeah, we're not even
We're
making
not that.
real animals. Okay,
like I don't really know, because their whole thing now is that they're trying to say that they're just trying to bring back species that already exist that are just like almost on the verge.
well,
of
even
extinction,
if
like
they brought a
rhinos and
real
stuff.
dire wolf back, like a real one, like the jackal one, it still has no place in our modern ecosystem because we destroyed our modern ecosystem. Like, it lived in what is now Los Angeles. That's where it lived. That's where we
set
find
them
it.
loose.
Like, bro,
Return them
we
to
are
the
not
ecosystem.
setting a dire wolf loose in LA. Like, it's not gonna work. Like,
Dude, it
I
could
know,
eat the
like,
lizards out of the
Trust,
tunnels.
yeah, dude, it could just run around in there. Like, send them. Like,
Yeah.
Tristan, you're right. If we set a pack of dire wolves loose on LA, it would reduce the population.
It would, yeah. CPT Tris has got the
you got a
the
point
advice in the
there.
chat.
Not even necessarily by people eating them, but because people would then move out of the city because no one wants to live in a city where there's just an entire pack of dire wolves randomly
Maybe
running
you
loose.
don't. Dude.
I mean, I would
Like-
live in that city, actually, dude.
I have no doubt that the Hitchbot incident
Oh,
like,
no,
that was
by
a
effect-
dire wolf, dude.
hurt the population of Philadelphia. Like, it
Yeah.
negatively impacted it. People were like,
Do you think that Hitchbot was killed by dire wolves? Is that what you're implying right now?
in a stretch, yeah.
In
All
a
right,
stretch,
I'm cool with
right?
that.
Also, Tristan in the chat earlier compared the dire wolf to cake. And honestly, if there was ever an animal that kind of was cake in a sense, maybe it's these guys. Like, from the outside, they look really good, but as soon as you start to really get into the nitty gritty and see those genes,
see those genes.
let's see those
Find
genes.
out.
I don't know.
As soon as you figure out what's in that genome, it's off the table.
Yeah, it's
man.
all over.
The Deep Floorboards Museum.
Yeah.
I wonder
don't
if
know.
we could get a little bit of the killdozer, because you know how like people like had like souvenirs
Oh
they took from it?
no, that would go crazy if we got pieces
Yeah,
of the Killdozer.
I wonder what else could we put in the Deep Floorboards Museum. Any suggestions?
Well, if we can finally find the Snallygaster and hunt it down, we could collect
Oh,
like
yeah,
a
we could
piece
put
of
that
the
in there.
Snallygaster, put the carcass up in the museum.
Dude, argue that you could put literally anything in the Deep Lore Boys Museum. The entire podcast is about literally anything.
Everything goes in. We could get the crystal skulls. That would be sick.
Yes. Yeah, dude, that would go crazy, actually. I still think we missed an opportunity there. We should have made merch with crystal skulls on it. Okay, I'm just saying.
We still could. I'm
could.
so down to make merch. I know it'd be a bit of an investment, which kind of scares me, but if people... if people would be interested in merch, we could definitely see about that.
I was really hoping we're going to Utah probably about the time this is going on this year, but I really wanted to make merch and sell it at Bigfoot Con, but I don't think that's happening.
That would have gone crazy, yeah.
Also, just quick question for while we're still live. This is not me promising anything, but I may have if we have Deep Lore Boys merch, how many people would buy Deep Lore Boys themed Fiddle Dee Dees like this?
Yes.
Jackson, can you lay off the Fiddle Dee Dees, bro? Can you
I was waiting to ask the question until the end.
How are we supposed to release a merch line and sell Fiddle Dee Dees, dude? Like, who are we supposed to contact to make those?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it can't be that difficult.
Dude. I don't know. If you want to make some Fiddle Dee Dees yourself and sell them, I'm not going to stop you.
I know a lot of goblins that would love to get their hands on some Fiddle Dee Dees.
Jackson, I think you're onto something. Like, don't get me wrong. I want Fiddle Dee Dees as much as the next guy, right? Probably more than the next guy, but...
costume Buddy the Elf shoes are $46. How do you think it would be?
You want to pay $46?
So the Wizard of New Zealand is a listener request from Tristan, CPT Tris, in our Discord. And I've got this guy's Wikipedia open, and it's got a picture of the wizard himself. He's kind of Gandalf-y looking, standing on a ladder, giving a speech. I went and started reading his life and career block, and honestly, it's just like the biggest W of a life ever. He was born in London, England in December of 1932. He had a pretty normal childhood. He got called to the Air Force when he was 19, trained to be a pilot. After he got out of the military, he became a sales representative for a paper merchant, so literally the office before the office. He married his girlfriend, Monica, taught English for 2 years in Iran, and then returned to England to attend the University of Leeds and graduated with a double honors degree in psychology and sociology. Super normal, super cool. Like, what a great life this guy's had. And then I don't know where the wizarding comes from. This is a mystery we're going to unravel together.
Around 1967, he created something called ALF, which was an action reform that stood for Action for Love and Freedom.
Okay.
I mean,
it implemented what he called the Fun Revolution.
It seems like the Fun Revolution was real fun because a year later, him and his wife split up, and his thesis was terminated. So it seems like this revolution was super fun. I don't know. I feel bad laughing for that. I don't know.
I don't. You dropped that on me very suddenly. It's your fault, not mine.
No, I don't know. Jackson, who is that?
That's the Fun Revolution. That's what comes up when you search it.
What?
Oh, what is that?
I think it's the wizard because it said Fun Revolution New Zealand Wizard.
For context, for audio listeners, Jackson just sent a picture of a dude holding a skull. It's a black and white photo. He kind of looks like Michael Jackson and Peter Dinklage combined a little bit. I don't really know.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's giving Brooke from One Piece for the three of you that'll get that reference.
Man,
and I don't know. I need
to watch One Piece just so I can communicate with you.
So him and his wife split up, and his thesis is terminated. He basically loses his job at the place where he is. He was appointed as the wizard of the University of New South Wales, basically just an events officer. I guess that's just what they called that position. Eventually, he was able to persuade Melbourne University, which is another place in Australia, to appoint him as their unpaid cosmologer, living work of art, and shaman. Unpaid.
Living work of art. Is that...
Living work of art and shaman.
Can they have me as that? I feel like a living work of art, man. Like I am.
I don't understand. So he just he was like, hey, I will be a work of art for you guys. I'll just be at the college and people can be like, wow, that's so cool. He's just a guy, the living work of art. I'm trying to understand. The Wikipedia is kind of vague, but it seems like ever since he offered his body as a work of art, he just went by the Wizard and stopped using his name at all. Because from that point on, the Wikipedia only calls him the Wizard.
Yeah.
And I guess he stood unsuccessfully in 3 Australian federal elections. And he never got in, which is a crying shame, in my opinion. Tree Boy in the Discord chat here says, if I had a nickel for every time the Deep Lore Boys talked about Australian politics in season 3, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Well, next up, we're going into the Emu War, so...
Are we going back to the Emu War?
Didn't we do the Emu War this season, or was that last season?
We've talked about the Emu War, I think, more than once. I think we.
Yeah, it was one of those topics we had to like.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Why did I completely forget about it?
In 1974, the Wizard migrated to Christchurch in New Zealand, and he put up a ladder in this cathedral square and started preaching from it. I don't know what he was saying, but it was rough enough, or it ruffled enough feathers that the city council tried to have him arrested, but the people loved him so much that they made the square a public speaking area. That way he couldn't be removed. Because it was like, yep, you can do that here.
They tried to have him arrested just for speaking on a ladder?
Well, he was wearing, the Wikipedia calls it a false prophet costume. Or his wizard's
I'm looking at
hat.
pictures right now. He's not dressed like a false prophet. He's dressed as a wizard.
Well, that's the same thing at Christchurch, okay?
Okay. I guess in a city called Christchurch, I should figure.
Yeah, they're not about that hocus pocus witchcraft
they don't
BS,
want none of that.
Matthew.
None of that. But
Oh, dude, he heckled Ray Comfort.
Wait, it was Ray Comfort.
So,
who is that?
You don't know who Ray Comfort is?
Oh,
he's this Christian evangelist guy. He confronted Telecom over the color of public telephone boxes, played for the local rugby team, heckled Christian evangelist Ray Comfort, evaded the compulsory New Zealand census, and performed dances in Canterbury, Auckland, and the Australian outback. This guy, so
he's
is his whole gist basically that he's just clowning on any kind of structure, like governmental or religious?
So
it sounds like
he's actually very much pro-British, and he has a whole thing that says Anglophobia in the USA, and I'm quoting dead from the website. There has recently been an upsurge in the United States of what I call mythodynamics aimed at building up hatred of the English. One key example of the growing animosity towards the English as a race was the movie Braveheart. This historical travesty was sponsored by Hollywood, the world's most influential propaganda machine apart from political dictatorships, which completely control their communications media.
Shoot.
He is now also listing The Patriot as a wrong example of what didn't actually happen.
Hold on. Is he just going down the list of Mel Gibson movies and just is he just like a major Mel Gibson hater?
Yes, literally.
So okay.
Dude.
So what we're getting at is basically this guy really likes Britain.
I think so.
If he's watching
Tuesday,
a football game, yeah, you know who he's going for.
He would not like our podcast. We've dunked on the British so many times.
Like that very much.
Okay, so then he's
I'm interested
because he says since World War II, American cinema audiences have been bombarded by mythodynamics portraying themselves as uniquely virtuous and the rest of the world is corrupt or vicious. That I can totally see how that would be.
He's actually right about that. I'm
but
wondering,
doesn't every culture do that?
Every culture
do that? Doesn't
I'm wondering, what is the word mythodynamics? What does that word mean? I've never heard that word in my life. I just googled the word mythodynamics, and there's not a single definition.
It's his website that comes
This is just its own word.
I'm seeing that in 1995, the city of Christchurch hosted a wizards conclave. So I guess at that point they were chill with him. And a bunch of colleagues of his got together to help build a wizard's nest on top of the university library tower. The wizard hatched from a giant egg in the city art gallery around that time. And he also did skydiving while chanting a spell for a major rugby match and performing various rituals around the city. Soon afterwards, accompanied by 49 other wizards, he came down by gondola from Port Hills with tablets bearing the address of his new website, which is crazy. Like Moses coming down from the mountain.
Dude,
He brought just a QR code or something. I don't know.
Also on this website, and I really just want to stress this even more, every single time you click on something, it has this like sparkle magic wand sound effect.
Yeah, I
and
was
then
wondering the
his
same
face is in the
thing.
background, and then it like fades out. Like
No, it's incredible.
one of his things is just straight up like for his like it's like bullet points, like spark notes on his ideals, and one of them is literally just girls just want to have fun. That's just, that's just
Who is this dude?
Dude, he's got a point. Okay, he's got a point.
Oh, he built a wizard mobile constructed from 2 front halves of VW Beetles. So I'm imagining what that means is that the front half is a Volkswagen Beetle and the back half is the front half of a Volkswagen
Yeah, that's what
Beetle.
I'm
So
saying. It's
like
the front
both
half.
ways.
So it's just it's
it
Yeah,
would
it's
look like a
just-
UFO because it'd be like so like long and like
Yeah.
both sides. Does it look like that?
if you just Google it, you'll find it. That's
yeah,
exactly
hold on.
the wizard mobile.
There's so many pictures of it, and that's exactly what it is. It is just two. It's like the old vintage Volkswagen Beetle. It's not like
Oh
the modern one.
yeah.
It is. It's just 2 Volkswagen Beetles stuck together.
The more I'm reading about this person, the more some of his stuff is winning me over.
He's slowly corrupting you, Jackson. Next, you're going to be like, Braveheart was
Yeah.
propaganda. Mel Gibson is a
Mel
messenger
Gibson
from
is
Satan.
fake.
I guess he founded Alf's Imperial Army, devoted to sensational but non-violent warfare and regularly organized battles on campus.
Wait, where are you
I
reading
don't-
this?
It's on his Wikipedia. There's another wiki dedicated to Alf's Imperial Army. Let me see. It's an
What?
organization centered on the idea of pacifist warfare, a form of mock combat. So I guess he would just organize like big groups of people on the college campus and they would just like pretend fight each other. They identify their battles as akin to theatrical performances.
This was done with the aim of reducing the hatred and violence being introduced on the campus by the various left-wing activists of the time. He forbade the use of any weapons, and he had it on what was known as the concrete lawn on the militia. Their great mission towards the end is to recruit heavily in Canada and then march south over the border in what will be the invasion of America.
They're going to invade America.
What?
We really
Dude,
said we were going to
we're
make
right-
Canada the 51st state, and they said,
Dude, he said
No,
he was
you.
like yeah. Jackson,
be
you realize
the-
that puts we're on the border between the U.S. and Canada right now. Okay, that
yeah, you
puts
guys
us.
are on the
So,
front lines.
We are
Are we
literally like the
south,
first
though?
people.
I think we're west, though. I think this invasion's going to be more...
What do you
Oh
mean?
man, I love
what do
the
you mean?
wizard. He's just
Sorry, we're
the
east,
best
but yeah.
guy. We would never resist
Yeah.
him.
Never
or say
come
anything
on
bad about
by.
him.
Yep, we love the wizards so much.
I threw out my copy of Braveheart.
Yep, just now
because
got
it's
rid of it.
propaganda.
I
Yeah.
burned both my Braveheart and my Patriot.
Also, I love rugby, and isn't soccer just the most entertaining sport?
You mean football? You mean,
I mean, oh,
football.
shoot, I just gave myself away. I'm gonna be impaled and
dude,
burned
it's-
at the stake now.
It's over for you, man. Well, no, you're not going to be burned at the stake because the wizard strictly engages in non-violent behavior, dude.
Oh, that's
Like,
right. He's just gonna
you're
put me
not-
on the concrete lawn and
Yeah,
fight
he's
me
gonna
without
like give you
weapons.
some laughing gas or something. Like that's all that's gonna happen.
Oh,
Like,
man.
you're not gonna.
After the February 2011 Christchurch earthquake, the wizard said, "All right, I'm retiring." He said that the town was not the town that he had loved before, like it had faded into
Aw.
something else and it was the end. But he ended up okay, so they announced that because of the earthquakes, they were going to knock down this cathedral. And then the wizard came out of retirement and was like, no, that's not happening.
Yeah.
And so he's back now.
It looks like the cathedral was a big part of his brand initially. I mean, that's where like he was usually preaching at outside this cathedral, and so the idea of them tearing it down really kind of sucks.
And he's still going. He's still around to this day. Man is 92 years old. And the last picture of him on the Wikipedia is from 2012. Looks to be the most recent one. And he looks like he's in really good health.
Yeah, he doesn't. He actually looks very young.
I know it
in
was 13 years
2012. Let
ago,
me
but
see.
the magic is keeping him young. Apparently, there is a documentary about this guy, the Wizard of New Zealand QSM. Among other topics, the documentary details the wizard's views that women cause wars through their shopping habits and that governments with monarchies are more stable. Sounds like a based wizard thing to say. Do you want to talk about Galileo's middle finger? I can't remember if we already discussed this or not.
So I could just talk about Galileo for a while because he got done so dirty. It's not even funny.
Galileo, he got treated bad.
But now he's
the
doing
thing.
the whole world dirty. So
Yeah, he got his revenge. Imagine flipping the bird, the old middle finger, so hard that all of history feels the effects of it. Like the ultimate butterfly effect. Galileo flapped his middle finger and throughout history can still be felt.
Dude, I'm just picturing, you ever seen season 1 of Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta?
I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
The one time I came to your house to watch Dragon Ball Z, we watched Cars instead. So
I remember that actually. Yeah, that was my bad. No, there's a scene where Vegeta and Nappa, they come down to Earth and like they have like the entire like American Navy there to try and stop him because he's evil. He's like an evil alien, and he just like takes one finger, he takes two of his fingers, just like flicks them up real quick and basically just like flips them off, and it sends out like a shockwave that just destroys everything. And that's all that I picture with this. Sorry for the Dragon Ball Z tangent there, but no, Galileo, his middle finger, the rest of his body, I don't think we have the rest of his body, right? That's just like gone.
What happened to his body? I don't actually know. Galileo,
for the last 8 years of his life, so 8 years up until he became reduced to a middle finger and a glass egg, he spent that time under house arrest. Like he was locked inside. He wasn't allowed to leave. And he never committed any actual crime. It was simply because he said that the earth orbited the sun. And that was enough to like enrage the church at the time. They were like, no, absolutely not. And because they were basically the government at the time too, they locked him in his house and left him under house arrest for 8 years until he died, simply because he said that the earth orbited the sun. Galileo's remains were transferred, I'm just reading this from the wiki, were transferred from an unconsecrated box underneath, I can't pronounce that, a bell tower, to a memorial tomb inside the church. So again, further spending this, Galileo dies, and they're so mad at him, they don't even nothing. They just put him in a box and bury him under a bell tower. Okay.
Man.
Like, dude, come on. So 95 years later, people are like, hold on. They're like, we should probably, like, this guy was kind of cool.
Do something about that. The botanist Giovanni attended the transfer and had brought a knife. Wasn't this some like deviousness? It says that he...
did he steal the finger?
I think he might have, yeah. The anatomist Antonio apparently used the knife to remove the middle finger from Galileo's corpse. And along with his thumb, index finger, one of his teeth, and his fifth lumbar vertebrae. So all those body parts of Galileo you mentioned earlier were just specifically cut out by this guy, which is really weird.
Just stole them all.
He didn't take a whole hand. He didn't take like an eye.
What?
Which I guess those would have rotted away.
Yeah, those would have been gone by then. But like dude.
Maybe this was all he could get. I don't know. But
what was this just like? He was like, I gotta take what I can get, man. gotta
give me some of that. These are gonna be famous one day. He's gonna be worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
When the Catholic Church figures out that the earth isn't the center of the universe.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, this guy is right. Like so this guy was just a businessman. Like he was thinking, I gotta get this guy's fingers.
Oh, wait a minute. The botanist Giovanni later wrote about why they took those body parts. He mentioned the two fingers specifically as relics because Galileo wrote so many beautiful things with them. That's why they stole them. So they're like, man, these fingers, they got a lot of mileage. We should take these.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm not going to argue with that.
Somebody in our Discord said, hate when my middle finger is stolen as I'm being transferred from my heretic's grave.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens.
Literally me.
When I'm dead, if I wind up in a heretic's grave, I'll say when I wind up in a heretic's grave, I'm gonna write some heretical type stuff. Y'all better steal my fingers and ship them around. All right,
we'll make it happen. We'll make
go
it
for
happen.
it. All right, I'm saying it now. I'm not going to be offended.
All right, guys, I am back.
Whoa,
Jackson, you're here.
We're talking about death.
The whole chat is congratulating you, Jackson, on the podcast. Everybody,
yes.
Oh my god, I haven't even checked the chat. Thank you, guys. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we're just in the middle of the Galileo Middle Finger saga here. There might not be much else to go over. It looks like the middle finger was later acquired by a guy, I'm going to stop like trying to read all the names and pronounce them. It was acquired by a guy named Angelo, and it was put in a library. And in 1841, it moved again to a museum. And then in 1927, it moved to another museum.
So why exactly did they collect his middle finger, like specifically?
Because Galileo wrote so many beautiful things with them, was the explanation given
that was
by
the real thing.
I don't know about that. I feel like
that's what. Okay, so Jackson, they took the finger and the body parts and stuff simply so they could put them on display and have them as relics.
Gibbons in our Discord says, "I'm taking Gordon Ramsay's jaw as he ate so many beautiful things."
That's actually kind of disturbing.
Yeah.
So where is the rest of his body?
There's just not much of it. It's everywhere.
That's what I'm saying. Like the rest of it's just gone because they're just put in a box and buried in the ground. Like it's gone, but we still have some fingers and like the vertebra. It wasn't until like the late 90s that the Catholic Church actually acknowledged heliocentrism and admitted that he was right. Like it took them a long time.
It really they fell way behind on that. They were tardy to the party.
I don't get that. That's crazy to me. So it just makes me feel really bad because Galileo was just simply too good for his time. I mean, he was just too.
He got
good
his
for
revenge
anybody else.
though with that middle
He
finger.
did. That's the thing. Like now he perpetually can flip off everybody. Truly, like you can't. When I look at anybody in history, like I can barely think of any people kind of lost in life, but like in death, like post-mortem, have won so hard.
What about Jesus?
Well, yeah, we can give it to Jesus too. Fine. But like...
Dude, Easter's in a couple days, shout out. Hey again, it's Jesse. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Deep Lore Boys podcast. If you did, leave a like, leave a review, subscribe for more episodes, share it with a friend, you know the stuff. Thanks for listening, and I hope your day is nothing short of interesting. Take care.
I'm going to go post that one on twitter.com.